I want to go over what makes someone a member of the St. John's Neighborhood Association. So these are by our bylaws. It's why at the sign-in sheets there was 2 questions and we checked off yes or no. So membership in SJNA shall be open to all residents 16 years of age and older, property owners, business licensees, and nonprofit organizations located or performing a significant part of their services within the boundaries of SJNA, and all members of Cathedral Park Neighborhood Association as defined in the bylaws of that association. So basically, if you live anywhere on this side of the railroad cut, you're a member. If you own a business, you own commercial property, you have a nonprofit that operates in the neighborhood, you're a member. And there is no requirement of previous meeting attendance to be able to vote. So a very, very, very large majority of the people here this evening, I'm sure, are eligible to vote. And we're going to be tallying that right now. It looks as if it's election day, presidential election. We have our tabulators going furiously here. They will not stop the count. And then on Zoom, we will be getting the eligibility there as well. So for voting this evening, we're going to have a simple hand raise, both in person and on Zoom, for yays and nays. And what we're going to basically compare that to is the total number of eligible voters. So say we came to 400 eligible voters between here and Zoom. If the total shows up as 425, we revote. We went over, people voted who weren't supposed to. If that total comes underneath the 400, we're trusting that there are not a large group of liars in the building this evening. We are all volunteers and do this on the side. We don't have the technology or ability to verify each single person here has eligibility. So please be honest and be a good community member and only vote if you are in fact eligible. Now, I went through and reviewed some of the cheat sheet about Robert's rules. So bear with us this evening. We're trying to follow the best we can, but again, we're all volunteers and we are certainly not precise experts. But what we're looking to do here is we will have a motion, a second, and open debate on a topic. So when you hear a motion in a second, we're not going right into a vote. Do not be alarmed. We will have a robust debate this evening. That said, right now, thank you very much. We're going to have, we have an hour allocated for the debate, in the initial debate. Then we have, hello, am I there? Can I get a little reverb? Can I get a little, make me sound like a rock star. The first will be about the bottle drop in general. And then the second will be examining the proposed letter of opposition that the board is bringing. So there will be debate and ability to look at both of those. So the final thing I would say is, you see how many people are in this room? There are 225 on Zoom? 240 on Zoom. Not everyone is going to be able to speak this evening. I'm sorry, it's a reality. That is okay. What we ask is that we try to be additive in when we share. So if somebody says exactly what you're thinking, let that be. That is okay. We can affirm that in the voting. But let's try to make sure what we say is additive, because we need to really be moving through this testimony. So I'm going to be setting a timer that will ding, and please forgive me when I have to politely ask you to stop speaking, but it's out of respect for making sure we can have as many people share as possible. So with that, are we good?
Sound good.
Sound is good on there. Do you have a motion to propose? Start motion to oppose the bottle drop on Lombard Street?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion?
Yeah. I'll make
Patrick, you motion
Correct.
for the neighborhood association to oppose the bottle drop on Lombard Street. Do we have a second? Ryan, we have a second. So now we're going to open the floor for an hour of debate on this. We have the microphone here. We can line up single file up the row. If you would like to share thoughts, either in opposition of the bottle drop or in favor of the bottle drop, this will be a vote as a simple yes or no on it. Does the neighborhood association support or oppose the bottle drop? That's what we're debating. That's what we're talking about as our first order of business. So please. Yes, yeah. Do we want to do a quick vote eligibility on Zoom? We'll do that after. Great. So if you would like to speak on Zoom, please raise your hand. If you would like to speak in the room, please line up at the microphone. We're going to give 90 seconds. And I know that's not a lot, but again, we have like 400 people. So we want to try and get through as many people as possible. So, great. We will start in the room, and then we will alternate between. So if you could state your name, and then I will start the timer there. Thank you.
All right, my name is James Armstrong. I business owner in the neighborhood. I own Cathedral Eye Care. I've also been very involved with the St. John's Boosters Safety and Livability Committee. And I can tell you that for the past few years that I've been involved, we've been working very hard to get the city and the county and basically anyone with authority over our area in St. John's to provide more resources because this small business community here is struggling with a lot of issues. And we are very concerned. I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but with a lot of relationships with businesses in the area. We're very concerned about what this would bring to the area without any sign of additional resources coming. We've had a struggle to get there, so I'm not opposed in general to anything about bottle drops, but just when it comes to this specific area, when it comes to the challenges that St. John's is seeing, we just have a lot of concerns about whether or not the city has the capability to back that up.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, then we're going to try and go to Zoom here. So we have Rob Mode, Grocery Outlet. I'm going to ask you to unmute right now, if you can.
Yes, thank you for allowing me the time. Again, my name is Rob Mode. I'm the owner of the Grocery Outlet. I've been in position at owning that building for 6 years now. Extremely concerned about what all of you have posted everywhere about the concerns of having a bottle drop in the neighborhood. My business is directly across the street from that facility location that's proposed. And public safety would be my number one concern. We are very worried about the drug use, the vandalism, the crime, the drug dealing, hypodermic needles, all of those types of things that come from the bottle drop locations. I have 2 employees currently working for me that worked at the Dollar Tree at the Delta Park location. Both of those employees came to me with fears of safety of their life from the type of individual issues as it relates to crime that they dealt with at that location. I'm very feared that allowing that facility to open in our neighborhood is going to bring the same types of issues. And I know all too well that the Portland Police Bureau cannot, they can't manage what's going on now. My store was burglarized twice last week, and I had limited response with that. So inviting more crime to this neighborhood would be absolutely devastating. We've tried to provide low price food options for our neighbors, for all of you, and we want to make sure we continue to be able to do so.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. All right, and we'll go ahead here in person. Go right ahead.
Hey, I'm Brooklyn Sherman. I just want to first mention to everyone, these guys have a YouTube channel. So if your friends missed this meeting and want to see what we all talked about around the bottle drop, go to the YouTube channel. You can just search St. John's Neighborhood Association. It pops up, and all your friends can watch, everyone who spoke tonight.
We did not pay for this, by the way. Not a paid endorsement.
But yeah, I'm subscribed to their YouTube channel. You should subscribe, But okay, but on the bottle drop, I'm comfortable with having bottle drops. My problem is how the city seems to be shifting the bottle drops to our neighborhood from downtown. They've closed 2 bottle drops in downtown. It's a clear shifting of the pour from one neighborhood to another. It would be one thing if they were like, we're going to open up bottle drops all over the city. Every neighborhood gets 1 additional bottle drop. Great. I use the bottle drop too. But the fact is that they're moving the homelessness from downtown to here. That's my problem.
Thank you, Brooklyn. We're going to keep it going in person right now. Go right ahead.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. My name is Travis Nelson. I'm the state representative for North and Northeast Portland. So my office has heard a lot about this issue, and after hearing from constituents, we arranged a meeting with the Bottle Drop folks, myself, and State Representative Maxine Dexter, who actually has the Bottle Drop or the Dollar Tree location in her district. Met with the Bottle Drop folks, and they told us that they did not have to have the Bottle Drop in that location, but they do need to work with the city on a location. So we need to encourage the city and push the city as a collective to find an alternative location that is suitable. Otherwise, every single store that sells cans and bottles will have to start taking back their own cans and bottles, and they will all turn into their own bottle drop locations because they are not going to be able to renew at Delta Park. So that's, since I've only got 90 seconds, that's the big update that I have for you all, but just wanted to make sure you had that information and wanted you to know that I'm here because I care, and I initiated that meeting because I heard from you. So thank you.
Thank you. We don't have any hands raised on Zoom. Anybody on Zoom, if you do want to speak, raise your hand and we will get to you. But in the meantime, you can go right ahead.
Good evening. I'm Terry Parks. I live directly behind the Dollar Tree. So I've been living there the last 5 years. They recently cleaned up the hundreds of hypodermic needles that was in that area. It's like a little park area for them. They come there, they do their drugs in that area because there's no houses facing that Tyler Street. So it's like a good area for them to hide and do their drug dealing and all that. And that's what they was doing at the Dollar Tree in the back. And we just don't need that in our area. And I just want to read one thing, make it real quick. On the news, they stated that within a week, there was a staggering change downtown. If you look up the definition of staggering, one of the definitions is deeply shocking and astonishing. We don't need to have no deeply shocking and astonishing situation at the bottom drop. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. I want to thank the folks so far for keeping your time short and respecting everybody there. One more time on Zoom, in case anybody does not know, to raise your hand, it's under the reactions button there. You would click that and then click raise your hand. So if anybody wants to speak on there, that's how you do so. But please, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Jonah Jensen. I live about 2 blocks from the proposed location in an ADU that my wife and I built for our family. We saw it as our opportunity to help with the missing middle housing crisis. We're not necessarily against bottle drops in general, but there's several locations that are in close proximity to this location. It makes no sense to congregate it all in our neighborhood. The thing that I take the biggest issue with is that there's been no public engagement whatsoever from the bottle drop. I would have better faith in them that they'd be neighborly if they were neighborly down at Delta Park. I would have much better faith that they would be good stewards of the community and they'd have good security protocol if somebody wasn't stabbed by one of their security guards in the Gleason location. I would think that I would not have concerns about safety if the downtown areas had not had market improvements a week after removing those bottle drops. So why are we willingly inviting this into our neighborhood? Why are we conflating compassion with enabling? It makes no sense to me.
Thank you for sharing there. And to your point, we found out about this when everybody else did. We saw it on social media when people started sharing it. So it's not as if we had any sort of special sneak preview to this, but we have a person on Zoom. So we'll get just 1 second, please. Thank you. Paula? We're going to have you unmute there, Paula. There we go.
Okay. One aspect I was thinking about is the kids from the high school take the bus, and oftentimes there are lots of bottle collectors on the bus, taking up huge amounts of room, and it causes tension in the bus and for the bus driver. I also used to volunteer at Food Share, and not often, but from time to time, there would be skirmishes with a homeless person that would scare the bejesus out of the folks standing in line waiting to get their groceries. And they virtually closed the doors to protect the volunteers. So that's another aspect. That's all.
Thank you for sharing, Paula. We'll go ahead and move back into the room here. Go right ahead.
Yeah, my name's Mike. I live about 300 feet away from the proposed location of the BottleDrop. I got in touch with residents from the Hazelwood neighborhood. That's the BottleDrop on 122nd and Gleason to understand what it's like living next to one. They told me that traffic's a nightmare, that people drive dangerously both on the 122nd and on the surrounding streets, including Washington drivers that park in front of people's houses to avoid being detected and denied service. They told me that the BottleDrop does not see itself as responsible for anything that happens outside of its property, including the dumping of garbage, setting up of illegal campsites, that it's incumbent on the community to respond to those issues, including the neighborhood association. Apparently people from the association are picking up trash in front of people's homes. They told me that they can see drug deals in front of the BottleDrop from their houses. And this is all off of a 5-lane highway. Lombard's a 2-lane city street. It's not going to be safe. Yeah.
Thank you. We've got a longer queue here in person, so we'll keep going in person for a couple more if you go right ahead.
Hi, my name's Mike Vile. I live about 3 blocks from the BottleDrop site. I'm going to leave it to everybody else to address the merits of this issue. I think you've done a great job so far. I just wanted to thank a few people. First, thanks to all of you for coming out. Thanks to the SJNA board for taking such quick action here. I would like to make one quick recommendation on your letter. The first paragraph describes the BottleDrop as a commercial use, and I'd ask you to consider describing it as an industrial use instead, due to all the... I'd also like to thank a few folks that people might not be aware have really been working hard to help us with this issue. I've spoken at length with former Mayor Sam Adams, who's given us a lot of help. Commissioner Rubio and her office have been very active in trying to find another site for the BottleDrop. They're working with OBRC to try and find another location. Commissioner Gonzalez's staff met with us. I've also heard from Commissioners Maps and Ryan, who've expressed their opposition to the site and their belief that BottleDrop should not be at the old Dollar Tree store. So again, thank you very much, and I hope everybody keeps working to make sure that we can get this put to rest so our neighbors don't have to worry about selling their homes, and our businesses don't have to worry about whether renewing their lease might be a good idea or if they need to look for somewhere else. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Great. All right. We're going to keep going in here. Just the line's longer in person. We want to work it down. So yes, please go ahead. It's good to see you.
Hi, this is Amod Chetri, and I'm the owner of St. John's Deli and Grocery. I'm the I'm actually victim as well as a live witness because I'm block away from the place. And especially my place has been vandalized like 17, 18 times just because of the cans. I even gave the live interview with the Cat 2 News that when this incident happened while they were buying and having this process done. One thing that I would like to address you that because I'm witness of the Dollar Tree when it was vandalized multiple times and the homeless literally tore the place down just to steal the cans from that place. So once you bring that big hub in there, what will happen? It will be like day and night sleeping over there. In my store area, I mean, especially James Madison Auto Places area, you can see all the needles and everything is spread around, which we go and every time we got to collect it, we got to request to the city, but we don't have any help. So I would completely oppose that, even though I've been taking and I have been victim for that. So I'm against it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and take testimony from someone online. We have Becky Freeman, if you could come off mute and go ahead and share. Becky.
Thank you so much. I'm Becky Freeman. I've lived in the neighborhood for 15 years and I'm a former board member on the neighborhood association. Just echoing what the concerns are that everyone else has stated. But, the idea that security or effective security can alleviate those concerns to me is a fantasy, because if you look at OBRC's history, not only have security at BottleDrops been involved in stabbing people that were just bystanders to some other incident, but there was a murder that happened at Delta Park involving a BottleDrop patron. So, while ideally they would protect that property, they wouldn't do anything about the surrounding area. And once we have a business that requires such heavy security, we've already lost. That's not a neighborhood that I want to live in or raise my children in, where we have to be so worried about our personal safety. I think the perspective as a mother and as a female is very different as far as safety walking down the street than maybe some men might feel. And I just want to say, now that BottleDrop OBRC is transitioning to this model of large return centers that are causing people to drive to them instead of just returning at locations that people are already visiting. It seems like the original environmental goals have been lost because we're burning fossil fuels. There's trucks coming and picking up these items. There are currently lawsuits pending for personal injuries for crashes with BottleDrop trucks.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, the time is up. We appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll go ahead in person. Yes, please.
All right. My name is Chris McMurray, and I lived in St. John's for about 20 years. And I echo pretty much what everyone else is saying. So my statements are more about the accountability or the lack of accountability from the OBRC. I did a lot of reading. I read through the court documents between them and Delta Park. So when they were a tenant, they didn't show any evidence of any accountability. I saw a lot of denial, a lot of deflection. And then, so if they're, that way as a tenant, and they own the building, what do you think is gonna happen? And then a lot of their responses, I tried to find quotes, and someone else commented before that they haven't really shown up to kind of address or mitigate the concerns. So the corporate responses that they give quotes to KGW and other, other news stations, but their quotes are just corporate tone-deaf responses. And one of the quotes was, peer-reviewed academic research actually shows a decrease in property crime in bottle bill communities versus cities and states that do not have a bottle bill. Like everybody in Portland, we are eager to see real and lasting solutions to these underlying issues. So, I read that and I laughed because that's not tangible accountability. So they pretty much made their case as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're going to hop to the next person up on Zoom, which is actually City Commissioner Carmen Rubio. So if you go ahead and take yourself off mute and go ahead. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. First, it's really helpful to be here and to hear all the concerns from all of you. And I just want to very quickly give you an update about everything that we know. First, know that we found out exactly 2 weeks ago from many of you, concerned neighbors, through emails to my office. So we were not notified as well. But that said, we were immediately very concerned and alarmed, and we know about the issues at the current Redemption Center location, and we feel the same way about the issues raised by all of you here. And we're very committed to finding another way. Also very extremely disappointed the city was not given a heads up, especially given that there were active conversations from the mayor's office with the state regarding other redemption sites in the city. Second, the very next day, the city asked the state that the decision-making process include community voices. And we learned that the application to the Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission does in fact include a 30-day comment period. And that's important because OLCC is the deciding authority here. In addition to expressing all these things with state leadership, I've directed the city planning department to explore alternative locations, as someone mentioned earlier, that would minimize, and not impact or not have these huge impacts in the way that we're all concerned about. And I've also directed my staff to work with the OBRC about those alternative locations. So just know that my office is working hard on this. My staff, Jillian Shoney, she is on this call as well, and she's listening as well. So we will stay in touch with those of you that are most active in the work and give you updates as soon as we know. So thanks for your advocacy, and we're with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Commissioner Rubio. We'll come back into the room here, and please go right ahead.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Al. I live in Cathedral Park. I'm a member of the Cathedral Park Neighborhood Association. I'm a member of the board there. Yeah, my commentary is largely echoing what everyone has said so far, but I also would just ask sort of to take the moment, look around you, understand how much people care. We're talking about the bottle drop today, but we'll have other issues, down the road. It's important to remember that we have the agency to change things when we gather and speak in contexts like this.
Thank you very much. And that really is an important point, right? Like, this is responding to something to affect the now, but how we shape the future of this neighborhood is continuing to show up like this now and moving forward. So please, let's stay involved and let's continue to try and achieve a vision of St. John's that we want to see, and not as one that's applied to us by a governmental agency buying a place and deciding they're going to do something. So please go ahead.
My name's Carrie Duncan, and sorry, I'm scared to touch these things. Okay. I am a homeowner in St. John's since 2006, and a mom. Raised my kids here. I'm concerned about the proximity to schools, including this one. Oregon had some of the highest youth overdoses on fentanyl in 2023, skyrocketing, I think they said. And not only have my own kids witnessed active drug use here and downtown. My kid goes to MLC, which is downtown. I'm worried about access, proximity. They're walking by, they're waiting at the bus stops, they're finding things on the ground, they're curious. I think that we really just can't let that happen. So.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead to someone on Zoom here. We have Lauren Crow. If you could come off mute and go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Crow. I'm 26 years old. I moved to St. John's a year and a half ago. I've lived in 5 different states and in some pretty big cities. And most recently, I lived in Los Angeles in Koreatown. So I am like no stranger to, some interesting street activity, I guess you could say. And I'm pretty resilient to it overall. Moving to St. John's very literally changed my life because of its walkability and because of the fact that I can live my life within blocks of my home. I live about a block from Safeway. I live right under the water tower. It is actually a place that typically people in their RVs parked. I've like made friends with some of them, just trying to be neighborly. The idea of the bottle drop being right across the street from my very favorite grocery store and my favorite deli and all of the places that I go to the most and visit on foot, I'm honestly just kind of preemptively exhausted by the idea of like an added level of hypervigilance to what I already have in order to keep myself safe. I'm very alert and literally always scanning my environment, even in my own neighborhood. And honestly, I'm okay with that because I love it here so much and it's worth it to me. Even though, you know, there's plenty of places in the world that don't deal with any of these issues at all. It's worth it. And also like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just wanting this bottle drop to just not be in the middle of where I hang out all the time so that I can,
Thank you, Lauren.
thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time to be here. With that, we'll move back into the room. You can go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Elaine Simmer. I live on Mohawk Street, just half a block up from Lombard, and that would be about 1 block or a block and a half from the bottle drop location. I moved to St. John's about 10 years ago specifically for the walkability. I walk out of my house almost every day to go to Ace or grocery outlet or to West Coast Fitness. And I'm 78 years old. I love to walk. I love to ride my bike, but I am not going to feel safe going out into my neighborhood if the bottle drop location is there. We all have been up to Delta Park. I used to take my cat to the vet there. I've been to Lowe's, and I've seen what a horrible, horrible mess it is there. And this is what we're going to introduce the rest of the city to as they come into St. John's. That's the first thing they're going to see before they enter downtown. How many people are going to turn around and go the other way? How about Mosaic, who just put in a brand new restaurant there? Their customers are not going to feel very comfortable there. So I have never been a not in my backyard kind of person. I strongly supported the St. John's Village and still do. I'm all for helping the disadvantaged folks, but this is a totally inappropriate location. And
Thank you very much.
let's not let it happen.
Appreciate your time. So we're moving along, we're doing well, and thank you everybody again for respecting each other's time with what you're sharing. So we're gonna keep going here, and we're gonna keep going in person. So Seamus, it's good to see you, and feel free.
Thanks. My name is Seamus Linsky. I'm a St. John's neighbor. So I think we all know, I mean, from all of the evidence that these sites haven't been very good neighbors. So I guess I have a question for either the board or anybody in the room who has a definitive answer to this, because I haven't been able to find it. Is this an allowed use in this? Is this zoned for this? Because if it, do we know that for sure? Okay. I mean, that's the only leg we have to stand on, right? We can like or dislike what somebody's doing, but if it's an allowed zoning use, the best we can do is negotiate some sort of good neighbor agreement or work with them on remediation or whatever. But if we're certain that this is not allowed zoning, this seems like this should be pretty easy to block.
So from my understanding, our land use chair passed along to me that it is zone CE, or commercial employment zone, a medium scale zone intended for sites along corridors with a neighborhood collector or higher traffic classification, especially along civic corridors that are also major truck streets or priority truck streets.
So does it come down to basically the definition that Mike brought up?
Yes, I think that's why Mike is making the point that we should label it as industrial and thus not commercial, and that would not fit in this zoning.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and continue in person if you want to step up to the microphone.
Okay, my name is Gary Newby. We moved this side of the cut in 1960, so I've got a little bit of experience out here. Anyway, I've seen the bottle drop down by Lowe's because I was a contractor for a long time, and it's just an absolute mess. And I don't want something like that coming in our neighborhood here. And the one thing that struck me that I was thinking of is going along like with this industrial zoning thing. I don't know if a lot of people are aware that Lombard is also a federal highway, alternate 30. And that would really mess up the traffic on the highway. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, if you continue reading that zoning information, it does talk about that, as well as some light manufacturing and distribution uses that have few off-site impacts. So there's, we're kind of getting into some technicalities around the zoning rules there, but I think that's why we have to be very careful with our language. So I appreciate you bringing that up earlier. We'll do one more in person, please. Yeah, go right ahead.
I hope you do her as well, because she's a local business owner in that area. Well, first of all, I think it's wild. We all know that the Bottle Drop has already purchased this property for $1.8 million. I think that that's a wild amount of money to spend without having some kind of awareness around how to get through, you know, some loophole to get this approval from the city. So that is suspicious. And I just want to remind everyone, this is an industrial zoned waste processing center. In reality, it is. There's disgusting things in these cans. The people that worked at the downtown locations that have been suspended have proven that, and there's dangerous things within them. So it is industrial zoned. There's many apartments, local businesses that rely on in our community, and people that rely on Grocery Outlet and Ace Hardware. And this is across the street from those businesses. It's wild. There are multiple elementary schools within a 3-minute walk. And again, as someone said earlier, this is not a matter of not in my backyard. We continuously accept the city's proposals, such as the tiny home village, which hasn't kept their good neighbor agreement that was promised. We have a 400-person safe rest village opening this year, but it's time to stop. We do not need the bottle drop. The only reason these bottles are even being processed for money is because they're taken out of recycling bins across the city. And I hope the city will make the right decision and not allow this in our small historic community.
Thank you for your time. Thank you very much. Oh, your name?
Rachel Day.
Thank you, Rachel. I don't see anybody on Zoom, actually, so we can continue here in person, please.
Hi, I'm Maribel Prado, and I live here, own businesses here in St. John's, and I think it's no to the drop bottle. I know there's this one, you have to think about it and see it in a different perspective. This started as us being a recycling community, a green community, a green city, recycling, making, and suddenly this becomes now a income for a lot of people. And if that's what the reality is for the people that wants this, that's so wrong. You have seen it, they're closing everywhere. I think we need as community, just, you know, say enough is enough. This is not a living income. People goes crazy on the lines, like everybody says, we live so near the Delta One, and it's so horrendous, ugly, the lines. Now, even think about it, if all the high school that is here on Lombard, people are gonna be coming with the big bags. I know that low-income people deserve a lot, but kids deserve a lot more, I feel. They're our future. So, I don't know if Bottle Drop is here, but as I said, this started as us being green, being, you know, being Portlanders, being Northwest, doing great to the environment, and this is not working out. Has Bottle Drop think about just dropping that and us paying like 2 or 3 cents per bottle, and then have these recycling companies, the recycling company, which is the same, because I know it's also a monopoly. There's only 2 recycling companies that pick up the garbage, have them make those 3 cents, 5 cents, and pick up, and then like the bottles not being sold, they just get the money, and we as a citizens willing to pay those 3 cents so that we go back to, let's be honest, since that became, I'm like trying to look what's the biggest problem has been, and I think is that people get money to do their drugs. And I know it has helped a lot of people for the income, but that's so wrong. You should not go and pick up garbage, bottles to eat.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, we're gonna keep going. You can go right ahead, yeah, thank you.
My name is Matt Johnson, and I've heard a lot of people who've lived here for a long time, and I just wanted to say that my wife and I moved here about 3 months ago, and when we got here and when we were looking at places to live, we saw St. John's, and all the people that we talked to said that it's such a unique neighborhood, it's so welcoming, it's everybody here is great, all the small businesses are great, and we experienced that ourselves. And just from hearing what this would bring to the community, I fear that the thing that made us fall in love with St. John's and want to live here will be split in two and lost. So I just wanted to give a little extra perspective from somebody who's recent, that we also, no thank you, and don't want it.
Thank you there. We've got a little bit of a line here on Zoom. We're gonna go to Zoom for one, and then we'll come right back to you. So yeah, go ahead. We've got Tom Karwacki is up next. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, thank you. Tom Karwacki, University Park Neighborhood Association Chair. Just wanted to say that we support St. John's neighborhood in Cathedral Park. We view this as an industrial use. We particularly think that you should look at those administrative rules that the Liquor Licensing Commission will be looking at, I and J. One of the things we have to do is definitely make sure that there's no cash at this site. And that is something that is in the purview and can be done, where there's basically you can drop off a bag and you get some sort of a card or something. And I think that it reduces the instant gratification that is enslaving. Because what this process and this center will do is basically condone slavery in the city. People who are addicted are enslaved.
Thanks, Tom. We're going to move back in person here. Please go right ahead.
Hi, excuse my voice, but I've been at the championship Roosevelt last 3 games. So proud of my Roosevelt. I'm class of 1980. I was born in Portland, never left St. John's. I live in my parents' home. I'm 62 years old. I live about a half a block from this BottleDrop crap. I do all my walking because I have not a very good eye. And when I do drive, someone's gonna get hit. And they're gonna be my little speed bump. But besides that, I fear for my safety. I'm a senior citizen, just signed up for Social Security, can hardly wait for April. What was my train? My train is, this is a residential area. This is where small businesses that I go to, Ace, grocery, the deli, Kahuna's, everywhere. I do it by foot. And if I have to put up with a homeless person coming down my street or parking in front of my house, it's not gonna happen on my clock. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you very much. One thing, and so there was a comment on Zoom that says, everyone hates this, can we just vote? Now, obviously, everyone who has risen to speak has been opposed to it, but we've seen the elected officials that are in this room and on Zoom, and I think there's value to having people's voice be heard in the different perspectives, because now this arms them with more feedback to take to these discussions. So we're going to continue for the allotted time of debate here, and then we will come to a vote. But I do think it's important that when Commissioner Rubio is on this call and sees just how many people are testifying and the variety of testimony, that's important So please, go right ahead.
Bear with me, I'm not a public speaker, but this will answer some of the zoning questions. This is the email that I sent to the city. Hopefully I can get it in 90 seconds. The property is zoned CE, Commercial Employment with a Mixed Use Civic Corridor Overlay. The CE zone allows a variety of uses, primary uses, including retail sales and service. Waste-related uses are prohibited in the CE zone. The proposed use is for a center that would redeem or buy beverage cans and bottles from persons who collect and bring the containers to the center. The code defines retail sales and service to include businesses that are involved in the sale, lease, or rent of newer used products to the general public. The code includes recycling drop-off in the list of retail sales and service uses, but the code disqualifies the use from being recycling drop-off if the use buys materials from its customers. In this instance, the proposed center does not sell or rent anything to the public, rather it intends only to buy materials from the public. Under the definition recycling drop-off center, recycling materials are not sold to a recycling drop-off center. Because the proposed use would buy the containers from its patrons, the code disqualifies it from being a recycling drop-off center. Recycling drop-off centers can't buy containers. The CE zone does allow certain industrial service uses and limits them to 40,000 square feet of floor area per use. Industrial service uses are where few customers, especially the general public, come to the site. The code includes recycling operations, different from recycling drop-off centers, as an industrial service use. Code defines recycling operation to be a use where one or more recycling materials are accumulated, stored, sorted, or processed. Importantly, the code adds a recycling operation may get recycling materials from drop-off centers, from a household or business pickup operation, or from commercial or industrial uses. Here, the proposed use will not get its containers from a recycling drop-off center, nor from a pickup operation, nor from a commercial or industrial use. It's therefore not a recycling operation, and in any case, its use conflicts with the description of an industrial service use because many customers, especially the general public, will come to the site. What then is the proposed use? The proposed use most likely fits the description of a waste-related use under code, which describes waste-related uses as uses that receive solid or liquid waste from others for disposal on the site for waste or transfer to another location, and includes recycling of materials as an accessory under code. Waste-related uses, 3 seconds. Waste-related uses are prohibited in the CE zone. The proposed collection and redemption center is a waste-related use, and the code prohibits it from being located in the CE zone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we're gonna go to a member on Zoom and then we'll come back into the room. So we have Michelle, if you could come off mute and go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thanks. I agree with what everyone has said. The one point I haven't heard yet is that there are other ways for people to turn in cans. And there never seems to be that part added to this discussion, that the green bag system is a really fabulous way for people to drop off cans and does not seem to create the same kind of impact in a community that others do. And in fact, that program even gives like 20% more for your groceries, depending on where you're returning them. So it's even more of a benefit for people who are needing the money for things like that versus drugs. So I just hope that that is a part of the discussion, that it's not needed. There are other ways for this to be happening in communities like ours. The BottleDrop location that's being proposed should be in an industrial area. Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate your time. We'll come back in person here. Go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is John Fair. I've been a resident here for 20 some odd years. To follow up on the last speaker, essentially it is an industrial scrap metal operation, is essentially what it is. And I think that is a good way to frame, or might be a way to think about framing the discussion when it comes to offering a variance or not. There's no retail that is going on there. That's an industrial exchange of raw material, basically. Where that tends to happen in North Portland is Columbia Boulevard. And that would be more, it seems, suitable traffic-wise as well as zoning-wise, I would imagine, as a location. Second, I wanted to add, there's been a number of mention of various crime that's been happening. I can tell the association that on November 8th, 2023, at about 8:10 p.m., there was a shooting at the corner of Tyler and Lombard. where a man was shot in the leg. Police responded. That might be something to note in the letter in terms of potential concerns for public safety. In deciding to grant a variance, the city should keep in mind that St. John's has done its share, maybe more than. St. John's Village, the RV park that is scheduled, I don't know the technical name of it, but the park for RVs, it's scheduled to open along Portland. It's coming up soon. Lastly, my understanding, let's keep in mind that the BottleDrop people, this, as far as I understand it, this is not a public service. That is money that they are keeping. It is, from what I understand, a for-profit operation. So there's no public good going on here.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. So we've got about 10 minutes left here. So, you know, we've got a few raised here on Zoom. We've got a few in the room. We'll try to get to everybody, but please, if you could keep it concise. We're going to go to Zoom for Amber Lee. If you could come off mute and go right ahead.
Thank you. The biggest concern for our families that we've spoken to and friends is the safety in the neighborhood. Again, this is a residential neighborhood, and this is an industrial process. We have 3 schools, including elementary, in close proximity. James John, Astor, and Roosevelt. Our road is Lombard. It's already so busy and it's dangerous. I don't know how much more we want to do for that. I don't know if there's other avenues that we can take to help people that are in need that actually use a BottleDrop for good processes. If it's like a food voucher, if it's a rent voucher, I don't know what our city could do, but we need to try something else. Thank you.
Thank you, Amber Lee. Thank you, appreciate it. We'll go back in person. Yes, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Debbie Tanis, and I am a homeowner here. I guess there was someone else that said the same thing, is that they are a for-profit corporation, and there are a lot of other states where it's actually the state handles the BottleDrop collection, because as they found out was there's about 1/3 of the money that never gets returned, so they get to pocket 1/3 of all deposits that we pay. That 1/3 is millions of dollars that could actually go towards funding the homeless and dealing with drug problems. I think that the state should handle it, and the collection should be at a state facility, run facility that is enforced, maybe by the state police. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we'll keep going in person here. So yes, please go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Guy. My wife, I live about 3 blocks away from the proposed location. My wife and I moved here about 8 years ago from San Francisco, so we're very used to a lot of these issues. I will definitely concede all the other points that people have made or have a much higher precedence than this, but I would like to note that there's probably been about a half a dozen apartment/condo units that have gone in since we've lived here that have provided no off-street parking or maybe minimal, and bringing this in is at odds with trying to reduce autos and traffic in the neighborhood.
Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead to Michelle on Zoom. Michelle, if you could come off mute and go right ahead. You're still muted there, Michelle, if you could come off.
Muted. Yeah, we're asked to unmute. We can't unmute her. So you have to unmute, Michelle, on your device.
Oh, okay. Michelle, while we sort that out, we'll go into the room here and you can go right ahead. And then we can get that mute issue working. Michelle?
Yes.
All right,
Hi.
there we go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have lived in St. John since 2004, but I am a Portland native, and I know a lot about this neighborhood, and that is When it started, you know, back in the day with James John, it was forcibly annexed by the city of Portland. And then we had a city dump at the end of the peninsula here, and it was pretty trashy. And we had some serious crap going on down underneath the cathedral like park area, until somebody stepped in. And it seems like for a long time, St. John's is a place where, you know, they put stuff that no one else wants to deal with. And I really hope that we can all come together and not ignore the fact that there are people out there that need to eat and have drug addictions and mental health issues. But, you know, this is a residential area, and those are toxic, you know, issues going on here. So I would like to see the city of Portland step up and not make St. John's be the place where they put the stuff they don't want to deal with.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead here in person. Yeah, go right ahead.
Hi, my name's Sue. I own a home here in St. John's. I've lived here for 16 years. I don't own a car. I actually take mass transportation. I'm not being judgy, car people. I just can't afford one. In any case, I take the 16, I take the 4, I take the 44, and I take the 75. I also work at night, which makes things very interesting, and I don't want to share my horror stories with you because I want you to take mass transportation. But I will say this about that it's not just a St. John's problem. As soon as people realize they have a cash cow here in St. John's, they're going to get on the bus because that's how they get around. And they're going to get on the 4, and they're going to get on the 44, and they're going to get on the 16, they're going to get on the 75. And guess what? They can't wait to take that money and buy things that are illegal that we will call drugs. Search of a better way of saying it. I could say a lot more. But they can't even wait. They actually smoke their fentanyl on the bus and on the train. I swear to God, we have to stop trains and buses in the city of Portland to air them out so the regular riders can get back on and get home. And guess what? We are so jaded now. I almost am like upset and angry and tears that we actually don't even call the drivers anymore because we don't want to miss our next bus connection. So we're actually inhaling their drugs. Sorry, that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. We've got we're running up on time here. We've got 2 or 3 minutes left. So we've got a few people on Zoom and in the room. We're running out of time here. So if we could keep it to like a minute and go quickly, we'll try to fit everybody in. Rachel, you're up next. If you could unmute and share quickly.
Hi, sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
My name is Rachel Sutta. This is baby Lou. And I just wanted to share a perspective. I used to work in the poorest congressional district in the United States in the South Bronx. I was a clinical coordinator there, and often a number of my clients were supplementing their income with bottle returns. And what I can say anecdotally is that it fundamentally contributed to deep addiction. And was not something that was particularly helpful. And I think that we've been talking about what is enabling versus, what is compassionate here. What I will say is, from what I understand, this is a for-profit business. And there has been no discussion about adding any supportive services next to the BottleDrop, like needle exchange, Stericycle, trying to actually encounter people in the throes of suffering and diverting some of the resources, because it is a state of emergency. COTEC has declared it as such. And I have yet to see anything about diverting any of the funding to actually providing resources to make it a safe environment.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Appreciate it. We have to move on. I want to try to fit everybody in here. So we'll go to Letty on Zoom as well. If you could have about a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, I'm Letty Alvarez, and I'm a former SNJ member, or board member, former resident of St. John's. We moved recently to the University Park neighborhood, which is less than a half a mile from St. John's, in order to raise our daughter in a quieter, safer neighborhood based on what was happening around our home, which was directly next to Cathedral Park. We left specifically for our safety based on what's happening at the park. We left what we see is we don't want to expose our 2-year-old daughter to the drugs, sex workers, public masturbators, hanging out in the park. There's already a mental health, drug, and criminal pandemic happening in and around St. John's that I would love our collective energies to work on viable and lasting solutions that truly breaks the cycle of poverty. If we don't feel safe to even go to one of the most beautiful parks in St. John's, this bottle drop will bring a new level of unrest.
Thank you, Letty. All right, we'll go here in the room, and this will be the last 2 speakers. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Chris Nowak. I've been living here for about 10 years. I have 2 little boys, go to Holy Cross. But we frequent Pier Park quite a bit. And I've heard a lot of stuff about Delta and what it does directly to Delta Park. But there's also the surrounding area of Delta as well. You'll see a lot of homeless camps, and they'll walk a mile if they have to in order to turn in their cans. So we have a lot of gems here in North Portland. A lot of trees over there, Pier Park, and a lot of trees over there, Forest Park over there. So I don't think that it's not a very far stretch for those that are in need of homes to take a nice area like that and walk over to where they need to in order to get to the bottle drop. So it would not just affect just St. John's, but it kind of would affect the outer areas that we love to frequent very much with our families. That's all I had to say.
Thank you very much. All righty.
Hi, my name is Sam Adams, and I have worked with, thank you. I've worked with this neighborhood association and other neighborhood associations on and off for 30 years. And the successes that you've had against tremendous adversity at times would be seriously threatened with this particular proposal at this particular site. You've all made that crystal clear. As you continue to advocate and we work to find a different place for it, and it's been mentioned tonight, so I'm just sort of underscoring it, and that is this very system, the OBRC system, is broken. It is a state-created organization that is a nonprofit that makes a profit. You've made that clear, and it came in here without any warning to anybody. I want to thank Mike and others and the state representative who serves you so well, and also Commissioner Rubio. And as we look for another site, just keep on the fact that this organization needs reform. This is a transfer of a broken bottle drop site to this neighborhood, and if we put it somewhere else without getting the organization to change, we're just giving the problem to another part of the city. So thank you.
All right, so everybody in the room, we're gonna bear with us for a second here. For the Zoom folks, this is specifically for you. We have our eligibility with the sign-ins. We know how many people in the room here can vote. We want to get that tally on Zoom. So I'm going to read the membership eligibility one more time. And if you can say yes to any of it, you will raise your hand using the raise your hand function on Zoom so we can get an accurate count of the eligible voting members on there. So once again, the membership qualifications: all residents 16 years of age and older, property owners, business licensees, and nonprofit organizations located or performing a significant part of their services within the boundaries of SJNA, and all members of Cathedral Park Neighborhood Association as defined in the bylaws of that association. If you meet any of those criteria that were just mentioned, please raise your hand. We're going to leave this open for 1 minute, and then we're going to take that number as the amount of eligible voters currently on Zoom. Somebody please play the Jeopardy music. We'll give it another 15 seconds on Zoom. 15 seconds to get your hand raised, please. Okay. At least on Zoom, we can get it. So, yeah. Maybe people can take sections like left, right, and center. Okay. All right. Thank you to the folks on Zoom. I see a total of 194 hands raised. 192. We're going to call it right now 195. That is it. The bidding is closed at 195 on Zoom. We had your time. Thank you very much. So, we've got, I'm really challenging my education here by doing addition on paper without a calculator, folks. So, use your phone. Use my phone. No, yep, we have 369 eligible voters in attendance right now. This one, the division's too much. The addition was fine, but division will divide it. 185 for a simple majority. We will have to count, and so your arm might get a little tired. So the motion that is presented right now is to oppose the bottle drop at this location. So we are going to have everybody raise their hand who is in favor of that motion, thus opposing the bottle drop. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Raise your hand in the room, and on Zoom, raise your hand if you are opposed. Once we reach a simple majority, we'll be able to call the vote. And Zoom, we might not even need to count in the room here. Okay, so please keep your hand raised. We want to keep this as official as possible. We have 175 hands raised on Zoom. 177. So this passes tremendously, in case you haven't noticed. So do we need to finish the count in the room, or are we fine? We do need to finish the count in the room. So please keep your hands raised. We've got 191 on Zoom. On Zoom, you can go ahead. Zoom, you're all set. You can lower your hand, Zoom. Zoom, you're done. In the room, this is your workout for the week. You're going to have a really strong one arm, maybe a little less strong other arm. $51 on the right, yeah.
They're still good. We still get them all the time.
408. So, well, in the room we have one. So in the room right now we have counted. We counted how many what's supposed to be in the room. So we have. Zoom was under the total, but in the room right now we have over 200 votes when the tally is. We do have a simple majority.
Stand by, folks.
All right, the suspense is over. It passes with a clear majority, folks. That is adopted. The St. John's Neighborhood Association officially opposes the BottleDrop location. Now, if you're willing to stay a bit longer, the board drafted a potential letter of opposition that could be filed as from the neighborhood association and shared with all the relevant parties. So if there is a motion to present and consider that, we could move forward with that letter. Otherwise, there's a motion there. Okay, is there a second? Okay, so what we'll do, we'll bring the letter up and we will read through it. And we can have motions to amend the letter, such as the amendment that you spoke to there. So thank you for everybody who did come out and has to head out. Again, we hope that we see you at a future meeting, because there's a lot going on and a lot of other stuff that we need to advocate for, like making sure we have a temporary library while the St. John's Library is closed for renovation. So thank you to all those who will stick around. We will review the letter and sure. Yeah. That's so what we would do is there's a basically you would bring that motion to like 1 second, let me get the official language up here. So it's a motion of thank you very much. Where'd it go? There's a motion. Like we can take.
So one of your most loyal customers. So good friends of ours. Good thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you for advocating and being in touch with you.
It's not like fish and chips. It's not, you know.
Yeah. So,
maybe we will. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks.
yeah. No, we can. Yeah. Hold on, just 1 second, folks. 1 second, folks. We have a community member here who would like to make a motion. And so we're going to go ahead and listen in and consider this motion. Yes.
Hello, my name is Samantha Shepard. I lived in the neighborhood for almost 18 years. And I have a friendly motion to make that with all the feedback given tonight, your letter is great, but a lot of new points were raised that aren't reflected in your letter.
Yeah.
It sounds like we do have time with Carbon Rubio's efforts as well as others that perhaps the letter could be postponed until the April meeting, allowing you to incorporate some of the feedback that came tonight that isn't currently reflected, recirculate it through the group, list of bullets of the basic feedback that came tonight. So my motion is to postpone adopting the letter tonight to offer you an opportunity to take the feedback of the community, perhaps even the turnout numbers, and recirculate.
Thank you. Is there a second to this motion? We have a second there. And so this is a simple majority vote. If it goes and the majority approves, we will postpone this to the April general meeting. So if you could raise your hand on Zoom and raise your hand in the room to see if we will postpone. Oh, the discussion. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. You're right. It's 8:45 and I think I'm just ready for like dessert, No, totally, absolutely. So we have the yes. Well, actually, no. Wait. Next month is at Sit-in School, technically, correct?
We're shooting for Sit-in right now.
Yeah.
We'll send out with the newsletter where the next meeting is going to be. We're trying to
encompass a majority of the neighborhood as much as possible. So we're trying to rotate between James, John, Sitton, and George. So we're working through that right now. So that'll be in the next newsletter on our next meeting, and we'll post on social media as well. But we're always on Zoom. We're always on Zoom.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So the motion on the floor is to postpone the adoption of the letter to the April general meeting. Yes, you
Hi,
go ahead.
I'm Kathy Parks. I live directly behind the Dollar Tree, irrelevant to this. I can appreciate what you're saying, but I really believe that the sooner we get the letter out, the better, because they are really working against us, and I think we don't have time to waste, period.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And yes, yeah, please go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Oh.
No, you gotta get down to it.
I can sit. Yeah. Okay. I would echo that. I guess I would, once this motion is voted on, if the motion's not adopted, I will get back up and move that you just amend the one sentence there where you describe it as a commercial use and characterize it as an industrial use. This isn't the only letter you can write.
Sure.
The board will have the opportunity to write many more letters in the future, and I think getting a public position out there as quick as possible, and then if you got to supplement it later, then you can do it.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Is there anybody else who would like to offer any thoughts on this on Zoom or in person? You like to? We'll get one more, and then we have one more on Zoom. And
Hi, Anisha Scanlon with the St. John's Review newspaper. I just wanted to let you know I took extensive notes. So if you want to utilize those for your letter, I'm here for you.
great. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead on Zoom. We have Janelle Hovde. If you could come off mute and share your thoughts. Go ahead, Janelle.
Okay, so there's a 30-day window of listening time. And if we postpone until next month, isn't that beyond the 30 days?
The 30 days has not commenced yet, correct, Ryan?
The 30 days has not commenced yet. It is still under review by the city before it then goes to the review period. And so the city has still not approved the preliminary bit for it before it goes before the public review. That is still supposed to be done by the 29th of February, and it is has not been done at all. And they have not returned my phone call, so I don't know when they will do it or not. So yeah,
I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you. But that's still, so I still think we should send it first and then add to it afterwards. Just
Thank you,
because if the city didn't know about this until people started reporting it, nobody says that they're going to know when the 30 days begins either.
Fair. Thank you, Janelle. Appreciate it. We'll go one more on Zoom. We have Caroline. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I'm trying to. Yeah, briefly, I just think we've got to keep the momentum up. We've come this far. I feel like it would be a huge letdown to put this on hold for 30 days. I'm urging the group to vote to submit it as is, and we can certainly add amendments later, as others have said. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. We're going to take 2 more minutes on this, and then we're going to hold a vote. We'll go in person here.
Morning or afternoon. My name is Craig. One thing was touched on a little bit, but I don't know if people are old enough to remember. The recycling boxes, the blue boxes we have, were meant originally for the cans, the cardboard, and any other recycling material to offset our cost of garbage pickup. As time went along, people started borrowing things out of the blue bins, and so now it's been turned into an underground economy for the homeless and for people that need stuff.
This is the debate, though, about whether to vote on this letter right now. So we're going to move on to the next person on Zoom. We've got Hans there. Yeah, Hans and Ali Holmquist, if you could come off mute and go ahead. You have about a minute.
Great, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to also suggest another option from Robert Rules of Order is that we could vote to approve the letter with the edits suggested tonight and trust in our neighborhood association folks to include what they heard. Thank you.
Thank you. And last one, we've got Kim from our board over at El Antojo Botanero. If you could go ahead and share.
Can you guys hear us?
Yep.
Okay, so we had universal support among the 7 of us that remain, that we should send the letter, and if we need to send clarifications or additional information, we can do that next month. So we're
Thank you, Kim.
eager to send it soon.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, we're at 8:50. I'm gonna call that as we have to move on to vote on the current motion on the floor, which is to postpone approving the letter to the next general meeting. So first, we're going to have those people who wish to postpone raise their hand, and then we will have those who wish to vote on it now raise their hand. So if you wish to postpone the letter, please raise your hand. Well, alrighty then. I don't see a single hand anywhere. So that means there's no opposition. It's going to pass unanimously that we will consider it now. And so would you like to present the motion that you're talking about?
I move that we authorize the board of directors to revise the letter as necessary to incorporate any of the suggestions that they heard tonight that they believe might be helpful.
We have a second there. Okay, and so all those in favor of that motion, if you could please raise your hand in the room and on Zoom. Yeah, that looks pretty close to unanimous there. We've got, how many are left in the room there? We've got one. Yeah, so that passes with a clear majority as well. So thank you all for attending. Those are the orders of business here for this evening. And since we're over our allotted time, I can go ahead and close the March general meeting for the St. John's Neighborhood Association at 8:52 p.m. And we will keep you updated via email and social media with everything moving forward, and we will work to incorporate what we heard this evening in our letter. Thank you again for being here, and we hope to see you again soon.
Please come to future meetings.